And welcome in, everybody. We are back with you. Draft 2021. Jeff and Tom breaking down the Bears selection. And we're brought to you by Motorola Razr. Big Tom, big news. A trade up by Ryan Pace. I believe that's 12 trades now in his tenure, covering 7 NFL drafts to get the quarterback from Ohio State, Justin Fields. When things started happening in front of the Bears, I thought, you know what? This could be a perfect opportunity. It was in their wheelhouse to go and get a quarterback, and they got a very talented quarterback. 6'2 3/4, 227, long arms, big hands, big wingspan, and the guy has a proven track record of success at Ohio State after his transfer from Georgia. What are your thoughts on Justin?
He comes from a big program. He plays in a star quality conference. He put the program on his shoulders and encouraged the Big Ten to come back and start playing football throughout the struggles of the pandemic. His athleticism speaks for itself. He's got a toughness that he exhibited on the field on a game day scenario that what players, teammates, future teammates want to see. He makes the offensive playmakers better in terms of receivers and offensive line. So he's the type of guy that's committed to development. He's the type of guy that's committed to be a star player on his football team. And that's the type of confidence that you have to come into the NFL with. I think he's going to be a great fit in the locker room. Obviously, everybody's got to be encouraged about what he's been able to accomplish throughout his college career. But now he's got to take it to the next level, get in the back pocket of Bill Lazor and John DeFilippo and Matt Nagy, and take this thing to the level that he's been preparing for his whole life.
Big, strong, fast, exceptional arm talent. His accuracy, very good among FBS quarterbacks beyond the line of scrimmage, 73.4%. Tight window throws, according to Pro Football Focus, 65.5 rating. Very good accuracy on 20-plus yards, really, since 2019. He's the first Big Ten quarterback, Tommy, with 40 touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns. He was MVP of the Big Ten title game. He's been tutored this offseason by John Beck, a former NFL quarterback. You see some of the numbers here. Tremendous yards per pass play. Heck, you had some great talent at Ohio State. You had a running game. You had a great tight end. You had the receivers, including guys that are still there. And how they get here, though, is trading up with the New York Giants. They give up next year's number 1. They give up this year's fifth round pick, and next year's 4th-round pick. So I know everybody's going to look at the draft charts and do all the math. Those draft charts, which started with Jimmy Johnson back in the day, have evolved over time. So when you're talking about a quarterback, and you're talking about one as talented as Justin Fields that you can now help grow here in Chicago, I think it was well worth the investment to move up with the New York Giants. What do you think?
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of trading. However, when you have this type of they gave up the draft capital they did to get a player that could be here for over a decade, and he could be playing the most important position that you have on the football field. And he's used to playing in the Midwest in front of huge crowds. So none of those little things that sometimes have to be taught to a player that doesn't play in such a high-profile conference, that's not the case for Justin Fields. So I got to believe that he's going to come in here and demonstrate his preparedness and his leadership the minute he gets here. But you talk about some of those little offshoot programs that you get to see about the young man himself. He cares about his body. He cares about his fitness. He cares about his supporting cast. So I'm all for it. And I want to see him come in and compete in the quarterback room. I don't want to see anything handed to him. I think the best is yet to come out of him, as long as he is a competitive atmosphere for this position.
Yes, and I'll tell you, he has that ability to be a dynamic runner, tough. And I know people have tried to punch holes in his game in terms of how he reads the field and going through progressions, but he made a great point this week, Tom. He said, listen, do you see the talent I have around me? I don't need to get to my third or even second progression, and God forbid your fourth or fifth progression when you got that kind of talent on the field surrounding you. So he put the ball where it was supposed to be. And I just love the idea that this guy is now a Chicago Bear because of the dual threat aspect. I know we've talked about this too. Yes, you have Andy Dalton, you have Nick Foles as more of a traditional quarterback, although Andy Dalton does have RPO to him as well. But this guy is big. He's a big quarterback, almost 6'3", 227, as you just saw on that graphic. I just think there's a lot to his game to work with for Matt Nagy and that staff.
Right, and he's got a lot of tools to work with. When you talk about Allen Robinson, you talk about Cole Kmet, Jimmy Graham, David Montgomery, Damon Williams, Tariq Cohen. You have a lot of weapons here that he's going to be able to put these guys in space. Because of that type of athleticism, the movement on his feet that he has, he's going to really be able to open up some space and kind of return that RPO attack from his athleticism to what is so beneficial, so helpful in the NFL today, and it can make different segments of your team better and more explosive.
I've heard this name mentioned once or twice. Think Donovan McNabb type, the Chicago area product, who had a great career in the NFL and led the Eagles for so many years. But he's going to be his own man, and Justin Fields is now a Chicago Bear. Can't wait to talk to him. I'm sure he's very excited. Pick number 11 in the NFL, the trade with the New York Giants. Tom, we'll break down the rest of the draft. You folks stay with us throughout the course of the weekend. We'll be joining you here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Motorola Razr. Till next time, folks, Justin Fields, your new Chicago Bear. We'll talk to you down the road.